Oh. All right. Hi, everybody. It is Shannon here from the Nomad Apothecary, and I am doing a live today all about hormones and ADHD and how to combat the effects that hormones and their fluctuations have on ADHD. I am really excited to be here with you today. I am also doing this live on Instagram. So hi everybody, same thing. You won't be able to see the slides on Instagram because they don't have a screen sharing feature yet, but if you want those, you can pop on over to Facebook on the Nomad Apothecary page and watch from there, or you can come over tomorrow and watch the replay. So yeah, that is it. We will get going here in just a little bit. I'm going to give it a minute to see if anybody is going to be joining before I really get started. So, how is everybody today? I am doing okay. It's really, really rainy here today, like really rainy. And so it's kind of really nasty and yeah, but that's okay. It's a perfect day for doing this because I'm, got nothing else to be able to enjoy. All right, so we got IG working, we got Facebook working. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, I am Shannon. I run the Nomad Apothecary, and today we are going to be doing a presentation all about hormones and ADHD and how to combat the effects that hormones have on ADHD symptoms. So, those of you on Facebook will be able to see the slides. Those of you on Instagram will not, so you can either pop on over to Facebook and come to the Nomad Apothecary Facebook page and watch it through there, or you can come over later today or tomorrow and watch the replay that will be available. So let's get started. So today we're doing hormones and ADHD and how to combat that holistically. For those of you who don't know me or haven't been to my page recently, a little bit about me. I'm Shannon. I am a healer and I'm a master holistic herbalist. I have been doing this for many, many years as a professional thing and then also just for personal reasons. I really love helping others through the power of herbs, and that's what we'll be talking about today. The qualifications, I've been an RN for 15 years. The last 4 of those has been as a CGRN, which is a certified gastroenterology registered nurse, which just means that I had to get 2 years of training in GI nursing, and then I was eligible to sit for an extra board exam and get my certified gastroenterology registered nurse certification. So I did that 3-4 years ago now, 3 years ago almost, and passed that on the first try, which was exciting because the boards are really fucking hard. So I've been doing that for the last 4 years, on and off, part-time, full-time, as I'm working to get the Nomad Apothecary to a point where I can quit the nursing and come on full-time to help all of my wonderful clients even better. I got my certified herbalist degree in 2013, and my master herbalist degree I started in 2019, 2018, somewhere in there, and finished that toward the tail end of 2020, and then finished my advanced master herbalist degree a few months after that because in typical ADHD fashion, doing one at a time wasn't very fun, so I did both at once and finished them shortly, one after the other. I received my ADHD diagnosis in January of 2019 at 35 years old. It was 1 month after I got married to my husband, and once I got it, I told him, "Ha, you're stuck with me now." So there was no backing out. Bonus fact, all 4 of my kids have ADHD as well, so it is like a household of squirrels over here, and my husband is the only neurotypical individual, so I'm pretty sure some days he feels like he's herding squirrels, and that's probably not too far from the truth. For all of these degrees and things, I have over 600 hours of training on herbs, herbal preparation, safety, dosing, how to make formulations and preparations, and all of that. And I have 10 years experience, it might be a little more now, of using them for personal reasons for myself and professional reasons. I use herbs to manage my own ADHD symptoms, and I do a blend of herbs and traditional medicines to treat my children's ADHD. And I also used herbs successfully from the time I was about 25, 26 to about 32 to successfully manage my endometriosis and the speed at which it was progressing, which gave me 7 years before I had to have surgery. And if I hadn't done what I did with the herbs, it would have been probably just a year or two and I would have been in surgery for it. So it was amazing. It helps. I still use the herbs for the endometriosis as well. So lots of experience there for me personally and my children. So, do you ever feel like when your period starts or you get closer to your period starting that your ADHD symptoms worsen, or like you're just feeling like you're spiraling and you can't figure out why? Do you have a teenage daughter who has ADHD and you feel like when puberty hit her symptoms were off the charts and things that were helping previously were no longer helping? Well, this is all because of hormonal fluctuations, and the changes of them can and do affect your ADHD symptoms, and they can have quite an effect for a lot of people and really make you feel like you're spiraling out of control. So today we're going to learn all about the parts that hormones play in ADHD symptoms and how to approach it holistically with herbs, supplements, and other methods, other holistic modalities. So which symptoms get worse during hormonal fluctuations? During your hormonal fluctuations, you can get fuzzier thinking, increased brain fog. It can increase the metabolism of any ADHD medications that you're on. So if you suddenly feel like your stimulants, if you're taking those, aren't working as well, this could be why. Hyperactivity. This can be hyperactivity of your mind or your body. As women, we tend to have more of a hyperactivity in our brains than we do of our bodies, but sometimes around this time it can kind of flip-flop, and you might be more focused in your brain and hyperactivity in your body, or vice versa. It can increase the hyperactivity in your brain and make you feel like you just really can't get a hold of those racing thoughts. It can increase your inattention, it can increase restlessness, and it can decrease your ability to focus and also decrease your executive function. Those of us with ADHD will tell you our executive function is already very disordered, so having that take a hit during this time really makes us feel like we're spiraling out of control when this happens, because it makes it, feel even worse than what we usually have a hard time doing. So these symptoms all can get worse during hormonal fluctuations, and those who have experienced this can tell you that it really does make like a trifecta of feeling like you're spiraling out of control. So which hormones are involved in this fluctuations, and what can we do about this? So the hormones that play a part are your sex hormones. These are responsible for regulating communications between your brain cells, and they can negatively impact executive function when they are out of sync. These hormones are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And yes, even women have testosterone. We just have them at lower levels than biological males. And if that gets disordered in women, then you wind up with PCOS a lot of times, and other disorders of the ovaries because of the influx of testosterone and the effects of that on your ovaries. An increase in estrogen or progesterone can cause your ADHD medications to be less effective as they increase your metabolism and they can just speed your meds straight through your system. And that explains a lot because I noticed personally when I was taking stimulants that during certain times of the month it felt like I was taking nothing all of a sudden. And that is, definitely something that after researching this more explained a lot, finding that out about that. So next part there. What does this mean regarding your cycle? An average menstrual cycle is 28 days, counting from day 1 of your period starting. This is the normal cycle, and obviously not everybody has a normal cycle, so your menstrual cycle would be from the first day of your period to whatever the next first day of your period is. During the first 2 weeks of this is called the follicular phase. This is when estrogen rises and progesterone drops or stays low. Estrogen is a wonderful hormone because it helps promote the production of serotonin and dopamine, both things that ADHD individuals can be missing or deficient in. This might also be why during this time in your cycle that you feel really extra productive, you're focused, your executive dysfunction is low, you have way more energy than usual, you're getting shit done, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on? This is fabulous. Well, this could be why. This increase in the estrogen actually helps your brain function more along the lines of a neurotypical brain, which is great for us because we get that burst of energy, we get shit done, we're like doing well at work, we're doing well in life, and it's a nice break from what might be our norm of feeling like we're constantly, behind on things and not able to get things done like we'd like to. The 3rd and 4th week is the luteal phase, and this is where estrogen drops and progesterone rises. The reason this happens is that your body is preparing itself to have a pregnancy, which is what your cycle is. It's the whole cycle is constantly preparing your body to get pregnant. So to get pregnant, you need a higher level of progesterone to help the embryo stick and stay stuck, and so the progesterone is needed to start a pregnancy. So this is why it rises, because your body is getting ready to, try to implant an embryo. Progesterone decreases the effects of estrogen on the brain and potentially decreases the effects of your stimulant medication. So if during this part of your cycle you suddenly feel like you're really scatterbrained, you have lots of brain fog, your executive function is worse than normal, you can't seem to get shit together, and you're dropping all of your balls that you've been trying to juggle, and you're exhausted, this could be why. Progesterone can really kind of fuck things up in your system. This is also the point in your cycle where if you have PMS, that this is where those PMS symptoms start. And it has actually been found that PMS is more acute in women with ADHD, which increases our sadness, depression symptoms, and anxiety at this time. So PMDD is also noted to be more acute and more often in women with ADHD as well. So at this time, you might also, on top of everything else feeling like it's going wrong, feel extra sad, feel extra depressed, or feel extra anxious. So it's kind of a bad cycle there that we get into with our cycles. So during ADHD and pregnancy, what happens with the hormones there and the effects on your ADHD? Well, pregnancy can have a huge impact on your ADHD symptoms. The first month, your body is producing extra hormones, and it's overproducing extra hormones a lot of times because it's not sure exactly how much you're going to need. So your body does extra until it figures out where you need to go and then gets it to that point that is perfect for you. In the meantime, though, you are flooded with extra progesterone, and this can worsen your symptoms to the point of near debility. Anybody who has ADHD and who has been pregnant can tell you that the first month, sometimes 2, just feels like you are utterly out of control. You're exhausted mentally, physically. You can't do anything. Your executive dysfunction is at an all-time high, and you literally feel like you are losing your mind. And that definitely happened to me when I was pregnant. The first month, I had no idea I was pregnant. I missed my period, but didn't pop positive on a pregnancy test at all until I was like almost 12 weeks pregnant. So It was really like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I didn't realize I was pregnant, but I was like losing my mind. I couldn't remember things at work all of a sudden that I had remembered for years. I was forgetting things that, you know, were just not normal for me to forget. My dyspraxia was getting worse and I kept dropping things. I was tripping over things that didn't exist. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I was having a horrible time functioning and didn't know why. Looking back, now I know I had ADHD, and it explains a lot. From about 2 months, sometimes 3, it just depends on how long it takes your body to regulate all of this, estrogen increases, and this is what is needed to help maintain a pregnancy. You need a rise in your estrogen to make sure the pregnancy stays for the rest of the term. Estrogen increases. This is when you might feel wonderful. You might feel the best you have ever felt in your entire damn life. And you're going to be like, what is this? This is when nesting kicks in. This is when like you're super productive at work all of a sudden. Your house is clean all the time when usually it may not be. Your self-care is improved. You're able to get through that executive dysfunction and, you know, do all the showering and the teeth brushing and the clothes changing and cooking and cleaning, and you don't know what's going on. And this is why the estrogen has such an effect on your brain, that it's helping it function at closer to a neurotypical level. Unfortunately, though, after birth, all hormones plummet, as your body is now trying to figure out, okay, we're no longer sustaining another life, so now we need to figure out how many hormones do we need for a single individual instead of 2. So they plummet, and this not only can increase your ADHD symptoms, but it actually increases the chance of a female with ADHD having postpartum depression, and it can be pretty severe in many women with ADHD. It's something I didn't realize was a thing that could happen. Unfortunately, that did happen to me. I got really severe postpartum depression, and it was bad, and I didn't realize what was happening. Doing all this research has informed me that this is probably what it was, having undiagnosed ADHD and then all my hormones plummeting, and it left me in quite a spiral for a long time until I was able to find something that helped kind of regulate things and get me back to feeling a little bit more in control. All right, so ADHD and PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it is a condition characterized by multiple cysts on your ovaries, and this causes them to deregulate and overproduce androgens, or in this case, what we also call testosterone. And when that is overproduced, it causes your body to decrease estrogen production, which in turn will worsen your ADHD symptoms. So it's kind of like you get in this catch-22 that's hard to get out of. So on a side note, though, some studies have shown that women with PCOS produce children that have an increased risk of developing ADHD or autism spectrum disorder, and the studies have shown that this is due to the effects of the excess androgens during the pregnancy. So it's definitely something that if this is what you have, it's a good idea to try something that can kind of get that under control ahead of time to help you and any offspring that you might decide to have. So we will talk here in a minute about what we can do for that, but this causes a lot of increased brain fog in women, and it causes a lot of fuzzy thinking, and it can cause an increase in like clumsiness, PCOS, and really can be very debilitating sometimes. So we will go over ways here in a little bit on how we can combat that and get your hormones under control to kind of regulate that out and get you feeling better. So, ADHD and menopause. What happens when we hit that time of life where we're finally, hallelujah, no longer having a cycle? During menopause, your estrogen levels decrease yet again, but this time they stay low. Your body is like, hey, I no longer need to make a baby or maintain a pregnancy, so we don't need these hormones to be as high, which is true for that case, but it can lead to worsening symptoms in those with ADHD. So on top of that, though, menopause comes with its own symptoms that usually include night sweats, brain fogs, hot flashes, fatigue, insomnia, and it can just really be a perfect storm of feeling like you're spiraling out of control. Because of the low estrogen, your ADHD symptoms are increasing, and then you have the menopause symptoms, and it can really put you in a tailspin. So what can we do to help all of these hormones that really can affect our ADHD and make us feel like shit? So the good thing the first good thing to do is to keep track of your cycle so you know where you are in which phase, so you can anticipate when your symptoms are going to get worse. So if you're old-fashioned like me, you can use a notebook and a pen. If that doesn't work for you, they have all kinds of period tracking apps now that are wonderful. I did use one of those as well, especially if I happened to be at work and it started and my notebook was at home. I could document it in there and kind of keep track. And this can really let you get a good pattern of how your cycle works and when your symptoms are going to be exacerbated, so you know when to start taking some extra things to help you. Most people, though, notice that 2 to 4 days before their first day of their period is when it starts really kicking up to gear. Though some people have also been like a week or two out, they start really noticing it starting to creep up. Mine personally was always about a week and a half out that my symptoms started getting worse, and that was because of my endometriosis. I had a little bit of dysregulation on my estrogen, so it was a little bit increased for me personally. At this time, if you're taking a stimulant, this is a good idea to get with your doctor and say, hey, during this time of my cycle, I've noticed that my medications aren't working as well. I'm, not feeling as well. They're not, helping me. And, hey, can we discuss getting some extra doses to take at this time only? So they would just be like, as needed, you would take it extra for the few days leading up that you notice your symptoms are getting worse, to kind of give your body that extra boost, since it is metabolizing your medications a little bit quicker during this time. Again, that's a hit or miss. It may or may not be an option. Some doctors would be like, hey, yeah, sure, let's do this. Others, look at you like you're drug seeking and trying to, sell them on the black market down the street. So, doesn't hurt to ask, but just know that the answer might not be the one that you would like. You can also then, more holistic means, get a blend of herbs that are known to normalize hormonal production and regulate and or increase estrogen levels, and in turn keep the progesterone levels a little bit lower. So which herbs are these? So herbs to use include the following: saw palmetto, which I know everybody has heard that this is great for men's sexual health, and that is true. It is. And that is because it helps inhibit the dihydrotestosterone from converting into testosterone. So it decreases the effects of testosterone on the system, because it keeps the testosterone levels in check. So it prevents that necessary transformation. So this is very useful if you have PCOS, because you do have an excess then of testosterone. So this can really help, because it'll help your body prevent it from converting into the more usable form, which will decrease the effects that it's having on your system, and will in turn allow your estrogen levels to increase. So this is berry, usually is the part that we use on saw palmetto. So you can buy it in a capsule form, you can buy the whole berries, and then you would make what's called a decoction, which we will go over here in a little bit what that is and how to make it. And take that up to 3 times a day. And you can take that all the time. I would take this as an all the time thing and not as an as needed thing. Also, wild yam is a good hormone regulating herb. This helps regulate the production of progesterone usually. So if that's at a normal level, then it allows estrogen to be at a better level as well. This you can make also in like a tea, but it's very mucilaginous. So when you turn it into like an infusion or a decoction, actually, because we use the roots of this one, it gets very like slimy and goopy. And if you have texture issues like I do, I would suggest either taking it in a tincture form or a cream form instead, where you put it over your ovaries once or twice a day. And that is much more palatable way of taking it. The wild yam I use personally, and I use it twice a day, and it's something that I use when in my cycle that I know that my symptoms are going to start getting worse. I don't use it all the time. Wild oats, these are wonderful, wonderful herbs for helping to regulate the hormones. They are kind of well known as an aphrodisiac. So if you take them, just be aware of that possible side effect where you might be horny as fuck now and wanting to, have sex all the time. So just be aware of that if that's a side effect that you maybe wouldn't be okay with, having. But they are very good and very soothing and nutritive as well. So it's a kind of an all-around good herb with some great side benefits. Agnus castus, also called chase tree berry or vitex, is also a berry like saw palmetto. That's the part that we tend to use the most. And this is a really wonderful all-around hormone regulating herb for women mainly. It's really awesome for that. You can take it as a decoction, a tincture, whatever. I use this one all the time as well for my own. I'm starting to get to that point in my life where I'm hitting like perimenopause, and so this has really helped kind of mitigate some of those symptoms and help my ADHD symptoms that were going a little bit out of control from that. Black cohosh is also really good. This is usually found in like capsule form, though you could also take it in an infusion or a tincture as well. Licorice, not the licorice that's used to make the candy, but it is kind of a similar taste, which is where it got its name from. Is very good as well in ladies' mantle, which is especially useful if you are perimenopausal or menopausal, as it helps increase estrogen levels. That's also one that you would take as an infusion or a tincture usually. So if you're going to try these, remember, pick one or two and try that first. You don't want to take too many at once, because if you have an adverse reaction, how do you figure out which one it was? If they do help and maybe one's helping more than the other, you wouldn't be able to tell which one was best for you if you're taking too many at one time. So try one, try it for about like a month or so, because herbs do take a little bit longer sometimes to see an effect than, pharmaceutical medications. And with herbs, more is not always better. So stick to just one or two that you find work for you and stay with those. There's no need to take all 5 or 6. You can prepare most of these as an infusion. If they're leaves or flowers, an infusion is best. You're going to boil 8 ounces or 240 milliliters of water for every 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried herb that you use. You're going to put those in a mug. You're going to pour the boiling water over. You're going to cover it and let it steep for about 10 minutes. Up to 15 or 20 if you like a stronger type tea, and then strain it and drink this up to 3 times a day. For the berries, you're going to boil the water, the 8 ounces to 240 milliliters to every 1 to 2 teaspoons of herb, and you're going to plop the berries in the water, bring it to a boil, then reduce the heat and let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then strain and drink it that way. You can definitely add honey or whatever other kind of sweetener you like, because some of these do get a little bitter taste or maybe just a weird taste that you're not used to, and you can definitely sweeten them. It doesn't change the composition. And if you're like me and, the ADHD makes it hard for you to remember to take things more than 1 time a day, you can make like a triple batch in the morning. Take out the first dose for the morning, put the rest like in a mug, a cup, something, put it in the fridge, take it with you, and drink it throughout the day instead, so you don't have to remember 3 separate times to do all of this, because that can be a bit much. For when to take these, saw palmetto, wild oats, and Agnus castus are best if taken daily. They have a much better effect if you take them regularly, and they're able to help regulate your hormones better that way. Wild yam, black cohosh, licorice, and lady's mantle can be taken on the days that you have identified are when your symptoms become worse, or when you know that you're getting closer to your cycle, your period in your cycle of your period starting, and this can really help regulate those hormones there for you. As I mentioned before, you can definitely do wild yam in a cream form instead of drinking it, because it does get very mucilaginous, and that can be like a weird texture for some people. Personally, I can't stomach it, so I take it as a cream. All right, what else can you do? So taking a daily probiotic can definitely help your ADHD symptoms especially. Dopamine is produced in the gut, so a healthy gut equals healthy dopamine production. So I always recommend taking a high quality probiotic, which means one that is refrigerated. My favorite brand that I use personally for my family as well is the Garden of Life Raw probiotics. You usually find these in the refrigerated supplement section of like natural health food stores or Whole Foods or things like that. They do need to stay refrigerated because they are full of live and active bacteria, the good kind of bacteria for your stomach. So it is something you need to keep in the fridge, but they are wonderful. The ones that are refrigerated are, slightly better than the ones that have been made shelf stable, because of the fact that the shelf stabilization process can take away some of that good stuff that the probiotics are for. Also, you can take magnesium glycinate. 2 times a day, and you can increase it up to 4 times a day on the days leading up to your period, starting when you notice your symptoms are getting worse. Magnesium glycinate is the more bioavailable form of magnesium, so you use more of it, and it doesn't have any of those diarrhea symptoms that you can get if you take like a lot of magnesium oxide. You will definitely find yourself in the toilet way more than you would like. Magnesium glycinate doesn't have that effect. So you would take like 2 capsules twice a day or 4 capsules once a day. If you're like me and can't remember to take things more than 1 time a day, even with an alarm, it's definitely okay to take all of it in the morning. I usually just do 2 capsules in the morning for me personally. You find which dose works best for you. And then you can increase it during the days leading up to your period. Many ADHD individuals are actually deficient in magnesium, and that can lead to us having worse cramps during our period, worse sleep cycles, all the time, but especially during our periods, and it can increase muscle spasms during our periods as well. So taking some extra magnesium to support your body during this time, and actually all the time, is a really good idea. Exercise can really help. This will help with your ADHD symptoms, not necessarily the hormones, but it definitely helps increase that dopamine production and gets our symptoms feeling a little bit better. Even a walk around the block counts. It doesn't have to be very far. It doesn't have to be a ton. Just whatever gets you moving and get your dopamine boosting up and makes you feel better. Sex is awesome for dopamine and estrogen levels, and bonus, it's fun. So you don't feel like you're exercising, you don't feel like you're doing anything crazy, but it's enjoyable, and it does give you the boost that you need to get your ADHD symptoms a little bit under control. And if you're feeling particularly stressed during this time, that is a lot of stress on your body. Going through that cycle every month and then getting to the period part does produce some extra stress. Even if you don't personally feel stressed, your body may be stressed. German chamomile tea before bed each night can help with that. It'll help decrease the stress on your body, and it can help increase your sleep as well, which is never a bad thing. So, just a quick little blurb for myself. If you want to try this on your own, that is perfectly fine. Sometimes, though, it can feel like you're just throwing a whole bunch of stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, and you spend all this money and you're wasting a bunch of time and you're not really sure if anything's working. And you want someone to kind of help guide you through that process who can get it tailored down a little bit faster and quicker and save you that time and energy of buying everything and trying it all. Then that's where I come in. Like I said, am a master holistic herbalist, and I have 600 hours of training plus all the years of experience in herbs, and can really help, get you a customized blend that really works best for you. And we spend less time throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks, and more time getting you feeling better. So my services entail one-on-one education and coaching, a very holistic approach to your health concerns. We treat you from the inside out. We fix the root cause of whatever is causing this, and in turn, it fixes the symptoms and gets you feeling better for a much longer and hopefully forever time than the allopathic approach, where we treat the symptoms first and hope that the root cause resolves itself. You get customized herbal preparations. I am there the whole way on your journey, helping you reach your health goals, assisting you in it, and I never just push you out and expect you to run before you can walk. You have all my knowledge and expertise at your disposal, and we make sure we have a customized herbal health plan that gives you all the details of what you need to do to get to your health goals. So if, like me, your memory is not super great with ADHD, you have it in writing right there to look at any time, and I am always available to contact and ask questions as well. So to sign up for this, you would book a free 30-minute health chat, which you can find in the link on Instagram, and on Facebook, there is a book now button that you can use. There's also one on Instagram, I believe, as well. But you can book a free 30-minute health chat first if you would like, and this just kind of lets us chat, see what's going on, if it's something I can help with, if you'd be interested in the services, and kind of just see if we vibe and how our energies mesh. And then from there, you would book an in-depth consultation. I offer 90 minutes, which is the best one because I can get really in-depth with you and we can really get to like the root cause. But I also offer a 60-minute slot for those who don't have, 90 minutes to spare, or who just want a more quick service. And we can chat, and either way, you get a very in-depth consultation, and we work together to find the root causes and work from there out. Once we had the consultation, I would, give you whatever custom herbal blends, send them to you. you would start taking those, and then you'd book a follow-up appointment for 3 to 4 weeks after you start, and we can see how things are going, tweak as needed, and then decide from there if, we need to continue seeing each other, or if, you found the blend that works for you and you're on your way. And there's, again, always lots of hope. I'm there. I'm not just pushing out the door and saying, take this and running away. So lots of support. In the end, in conclusion, fluctuating hormones can definitely wreak havoc on your ADHD, but with just a few tweaks to your routine, some herbal preparations, we can definitely get it nipped in the bud, help even things out, and get your ADHD symptoms under control, as well as the hormonal fluctuations under control, and keep you at a more even keel throughout the month and ultimately throughout your life. Herbs are amazing and can do wonderfully amazing things in supporting you and assisting your body with controlling and managing your ADHD symptoms. I use them personally myself for my ADHD. I use a mix of traditional and herbs with my children's ADHD, and I know that this works. I'm not just talking out my ass here, and I'm totally not just saying this because I want your money. I've used this myself. I've seen it work. I know that these can do great things, and I just really want to bring that same help to you. So please hit me up with any questions now if you guys have any, and see what we can do. Down at the bottom, you see all of my ways to get a hold of me, and I would absolutely love chatting with you guys. Anytime. Send me messages on Instagram, send me messages on Facebook, send me emails. I would love it. I love helping and getting you guys feeling better. Checking Facebook here, see if there's any comments coming through. Not yet. And all right. Hi, everybody watching me on IG. Thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it. All right, if we don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Again, you can always message me on Instagram or Facebook, or email me at the email here on the bottom. You can't see that on Instagram, but it is in the link in my bio. And go ahead and ask me anything. And if you want to schedule an appointment, I would absolutely love that, and see what we can do together to get you feeling better. All right, so bye, everybody. Have a great day.